Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Up on Screen with yours truly, Jayden Leroy.
And me, Matt Benici.
Nice. This week's episode, I have chosen one of my favourite Halloween movies, just in time to celebrate the spooky season. This week we will discuss my favourite pick, Hocus Pocus, a film about three evil witches that are resurrected back from the dead and run amok in the town of Salem. Thank you for that.
Oh, sorry guys. Okay, I think we should start the show.
Thank you for joining us this week, guys, as we celebrate Halloween. How are you, Matt?
Awesome. I love the Halloween movies.
I know.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. I'm really excited about this episode, actually.
Yeah.
It's, as I said, it's one of my favourite Halloween movies, so
Nice.
I'm quite excited. My inner child is literally screaming.
I love that.
I actually have a bit of history with this particular film as well, so stay tuned.
Oh.
But yeah, let's get into it.
All right.
All right.
Jay's going to cast some spells during today's. Probably on me. Actually.
So we'll start with the plot of the film, which follows a teenage boy named Max Dennison, played by Ormy Katz. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Explores an abandoned house with his younger sister Danny, played by Thora Birch, and new friend Allison, played by Vanessa Shaw. Now, in an attempt to impress the girls, Max accidentally lights a magical candle that resurrects three evil witches back from the dead. The three witches, Winifred Sanderson, played by Bette Midler, Mary Sanderson, played by Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Sanderson, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, run amok in the town of Salem, luring the children of the town for their souls to gain immortality. Max, Danny, and Allison try to stop the witch's curse over Salem and are aided by a black talking cat named Zachary Binks. Wow.
Nice. Everyone loves a talking cat.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll definitely like the one in this film.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, I'll obviously watch the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so produced by Stephen Huft and David Kirshner, written by David Kirshner and Mick Garris and Neil Cuthbert. It's also directed by Kenny Ortega. And for the people who are not familiar with...
I've heard his name before, but
Yeah.
I can't remember where.
He did all the Descendants
series. Right.
And he also was responsible for the High School Musicals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
pretty
he's
big.
very well known in the Disney industry.
Yeah, Disney World, yeah.
Yeah. Director of photography by Hiro Narita. Again, I apologize.
Hero, probably. Hero.
Yeah.
Hiro Narita, probably.
Yeah. Production design by William Sandell.
William Sandell.
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
Does he ring a bell?
No, but while you're talking, I'll have a quick look.
Okay, so and the film is distributed by Disney Studios.
Of course.
Starring Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, Sarah Jessica Parker, Ormy Katz, Thora Birch, Vanessa Shaw, Sean Murray, and Jason Marsden. So it has a budget of $28 million.
And it was released in 93?
1993, yes.
So, yeah, I mean, it's Disney in-house sort of film. Yeah. They would have been using a lot of Disney sound stages and that, so it's quite economical for them, to
saved them a bit of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was first released in North America in July 16, 1993 by Walt Disney Pictures. And yeah, there's a reasoning behind why it was released on an odd month. You'd think that it would be released around the Halloween period.
Oh, true, because it's Halloween. Yeah, that's right.
I'll get to that later. Okay, and so for box office, upon its release, the film didn't do as well as expected, receiving mixed reviews from critics, and was initially a box office bomb.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, but there was a lot of reasons behind it, but I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, it possibly losing Disney around $16.5 million during its theatrical run, grossing less than 51 million.
Oh.
So that's quite a big loss.
It is, but it's also nothing for Disney.
Oh,
But
yeah, literally. Like, if there was any studio that could, bear that, it'd be Disney for sure.
Yeah.
That's like loose change to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite a hit financially. And despite the film not being released around Halloween, Disney tried to avoid the film competing with other releases that year, like The Nightmare Before Christmas and Addams Family Values.
Two big films
that
around.
were both released
Yes.
around that period.
And have great casts.
Yeah.
Especially in Addams Family one. Yeah.
And sadly, as a result, Hocus Pocus was not considered successful.
They should have played their cards a bit better. Releasing the film in summer, when they usually have like big action blockbusters and like big films like Star Wars and stuff, or Jurassic Park, right in the middle of the American summer.
It just makes more sense.
And it's a seasonal film, like it's about that time of year. It's about Halloween. Yeah, it's quite silly. Anyway.
However, through many annual airings on Disney Channel and Freeform throughout the month of October, Hocus Pocus has been rediscovered by audiences, resulting in a yearly spark in home media sales for the film every Halloween season. The annual celebration of the spooky season has helped make the film a cult classic. The film has now spawned a franchise consisting of a novelization and a very successful sequel, Hocus Pocus 2, released in September 30, 2022. On Disney Plus, making it the most watched Disney Plus film ever.
Oh.
The third film is currently in development.
Oh, nice. So you're saying that the second film is become the highest Halloween type film? Or the highest film?
I'm not sure if it is now, but when it came out, it was the most watched film on Disney Plus platform.
Just film, not even Halloween, like just film in general.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, it was very largely anticipated before it even came out.
Wow.
Because as it mentions here, like it developed a cult following.
And it's been a long time between the first original film.
30 years.
Yeah, and then until the time that part 2 was released.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So it didn't hit straight away, obviously, but it wasn't until much time later that it got the attention that it deserved.
Yeah, and then finally making another film, like a third film. That's cool. Not waiting so long, I guess, to do it.
Exactly.
Bette Midler's not getting any younger.
Well, that's what...
or any of them are.
That's what she said in an interview recently. She said that she's obviously open to do the third film, but they need to get a wriggle on because, I think she said, quote unquote, they need to strike us while we're still breathing or something. And I was like, yeah. Absolutely. Well, she's funny. She's not wrong.
Yeah.
It was amazing that she could pull off what she did in the second. Because there was a lot of movement and
Okay.
She did a really good job. So Hocus Pocus was originally a story that producer David Kirshner would tell his daughters before later on becoming a film.
Okay.
Production, Hocus Pocus started life as a script by Mick Garris. That was brought by Walt Disney Pictures in 1984. The film's working title was Disney's Halloween House.
Oh, that really doesn't land very well.
It doesn't really hit, does it?
No.
Yeah.
Although it does sound like their recent thing that they did on, what was it? Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
But different, but similar. Yeah, okay.
Well, it was a much more darker, much more scarier, and its protagonists were all 12-year-olds. Garris and Kirshner pitched the idea to Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment, sorry.
Nice.
Spielberg saw Disney as a competitor to Amblin in the film marketing business and refused to co-produce a film with his rival.
Oh,
so that's very interesting.
Yes.
I didn't know that either.
Oh, wow.
The film was set in Salem, Massachusetts.
It's a hard word to pronounce. Massachusetts. Yeah.
But most of it was shot on sound stages, which I think...
in Burbank, probably. Somewhere in Burbank.
How did you know that?
That's where they shot a lot of their films around Hollywood. It's
okay.
it's the studio suburb where a lot of these sound stages are
Yeah.
on the studio lots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was shot on sound stages in Burbank, California. So
There you go.
great work.
Oh, thanks.
However, its daytime scenes were filmed in different parts of Salem. So
Which is actually on the east, I think, on the east coast of America,
sure.
because obviously LA or Burbank is on the west coast in Los Angeles, and then Salem or Massachusetts is on the other side of the country, pretty much. That's interesting. Nice.
So I really love this film. In fact, I discovered Hocus Pocus when I was really young. Hocus Pocus was probably the first ever film that I have vivid memory of.
Because it came out, 4 years before you were born?
Yes.
Pretty much. Well, not too long before you were born, but yeah.
Not too long,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But I first discovered it on VHS.
Lovely. Nice.
And I used to watch it every day I'd come home from preschool. It would be on religiously.
Do you have the tape still?
I do, actually.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, wow.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so I watched it that much that I eventually... Something happened with the film inside the VHS, and it was destroyed, and I chucked a massive tantrum that day.
No.
And my nan actually got me the DVD the very next day.
Oh, yeah, because DVDs were coming in then.
DVDs were slowly coming in.
Yes, that's right.
So yeah, I've got a really good relationship with this film. I think
Nice.
it's a classic, and it's, well, I wouldn't say children friendly because
I
they
mean,
lure kids into their demise.
yeah, but they do it in the Disney way,
Yeah.
which is, very
Smoke and
squeaky clean and smoke and mirrors,
Yeah.
and done with smile on face and all that sort of stuff.
The movie was also my first introduction to the amazing Bette Midler, who I love and adore.
She's a legend, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, she's great.
She was great in this.
And just on that, do you mind if I go through
Go for it.
Bette Midler's run in films coming up to this film? So obviously, this is 1993, so Bette Midler has many more films and TV shows and albums and stuff that she's done since then up until now. But up until the film, she starred in 1979's The Rose, which is a very famous film, and a song, obviously, called The Rose, and she's absolutely brilliant in that. 1986, she starts having her run as a real kind of rich, bitchy woman roles. So Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1986, also Ruthless People.
That was funny.
As well. In 87, she did Outrageous Fortune. In 1988, she did...
Big Business.
You just get that.
Yeah.
Big Business in 88, that's right. Very funny film with Lily Tomlin. 1988, she's also did Beaches.
Beaches.
There you go. You Are the Wind Beneath My Wings, Jay.
You are the wind beneath my
Wings. I won't sing the rest. But 1991, she was in For the Boys.
Have you seen that?
I have, but I've only seen it once, and it's a great film.
It's another underrated film that's really amazing.
It is. And then obviously in 93, Hocus Pocus.
Yep.
And then since then, many more. But do you know her Oscar nominations that she's been nominated for as well?
Don't.
In 92, she was nominated, of course, for The Boys.
Yes.
In For the Boys. And then in 1984,
she was rigged.
For the Rose, back in 1980.
Did she win for the Rose?
No, nominated. Only nominated, both times. But, I mean, as we all know, to be Oscar nominated, just even nominated, is a big honour.
I guess.
Yeah.
She was still robbed.
Yeah. Sorry, Jay.
She deserves all the gold in the world.
Yeah.
That woman.
Yeah, back to you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with a bit of fun now. Let's start with some top facts about the film.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Okay, so fact number 1. Did you know that Sarah Jessica Parker, who played Sarah Sanderson, discovered years later after the release of Hocus Pocus that her maternal 10th great-grandmother, named Esther Elwell, was accused of witchcraft during the Salem witch trials in the 1690s.
Wow, that is very spooky.
Yeah.
I mean, such a weird coincidence. Very strange. And the fact that Sarah Jessica Parker is doing a film about witches that were put to death during the Salem witch trials
Exactly.
and stuff like that. That's very interesting. Wow.
So I found that pretty cool. There was also, before Bette Midler went on to play the role of Winifred Sanderson, they had 2 actresses in mind to play the role, and the first was Cloris Leachman.
I love that name.
Cloris Leachman is a very old actor. I'm not too sure if she's with us anymore.
Still around. Maybe not.
And I'm pretty sure I do remember seeing her play a witch in her career as well.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And she did a really good job. But the second person that was considered was actually Rosie O'Donnell,
Interesting.
who was quite big at the time, but
She was very big at the time.
I couldn't see that. I can't see her playing a witch.
Yeah, I don't think she's got the gravitas or
And all that jazz.
and all that razzle dazzle like Bette does.
Yeah.
Bette's got a bit more sass, a bit more that presence
Yeah.
that's required amongst the dominant of the 3 sisters sort of
I'd
thing.
have to agree, yeah. But yeah, it was later. Rosie later said that she turned down the role because she didn't want to play a person that would harm children on film.
Okay.
Which
that's fair enough. I mean, some actors are a bit sensitive about their profile or how they think they're going to be perceived out in the public. But I think for the most part, if you're an actor, I mean, people know that that's your job. I mean, as an audience member, as a film consumer, I'm not gonna look at someone playing a role of a serial killer, for instance, and go, oh, they're a bad human being. That's she's just being a bit overprotective, I think, of her career.
But yeah, anyway, it worked out for the best because
got the role. Oh, thank God.
And she nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is actually really interesting as well. So they also had somebody else in mind to play Max Dennison. Mm-hmm. And they were actually going to get Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because he was quite young at the time.
Yeah. So they reportedly paid him a lot of money to play the role of Max Dennison, but he turned it down to play another role instead that launched his career, which was the film What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Great move. Great. I'm glad that he didn't do Hocus Pocus.
No, I think so too.
Yeah.
I have to agree.
Yeah, he was brilliant in that.
He played a
Gilbert
mentally
Grape.
challenged little boy, which he should have won an Oscar
He
for.
definitely should have won his first Oscar
honestly.
for that. And since then, actually, just on Leo, he probably, by rights, he probably should have at least won probably 3 Oscars by now. At least 2 or 3 Oscars by now.
It's just offensive.
Anyway, sorry, Jay.
Get over it myself.
Yeah.
Boggles me. Winifred Sanderson has been Bette Midler's favourite character to play in her whole career.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yep.
Considering the roles that she's played.
Yeah.
And the roles, as I said earlier, she's been nominated for Oscars for as well.
Yep.
She even likes the role better than playing her bitchy, rich Sadie Sheldon in Big Business.
Yes.
Because that was a great role for her.
It was. We'd have to do an episode on that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. So the water fountain that's often seen in the film, that's actually the same water fountain that is used in the opening credit scenes of the famous hit TV show Friends.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's the exact same one.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
That's cool.
Wow. Fun fact for you.
Yeah, I like that.
So,
because just on that, because Friends was filmed, obviously in LA, in Burbank, in the studio areas, because it was filmed in LA. Because I remember going there.
Did you see the fountain?
No, I saw the apartment and interior sets when I was there in 2016.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry. I'm not sure if the fountain's in Salem or if it's. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. But sorry if I've got my wires crossed. But,
but it's definitely the same fountain from the opening credits.
I mean, it's easier then for them to recreate it anyway.
Well, true.
If they wanted to.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hocus Pocus is also the first Disney movie to mention the word virgin.
Virgin?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
coming from Disney, as we all know, squeaky clean sort of thing. It was Walt Disney wanted it always to be.
Well, I mean, I don't know when they started doing M-rated movies.
Yeah, so Disney had another production arm.
Okay.
To them.
Yeah.
So another distribution arm. They didn't release through Disney. Right. So I think they had Buena Vista International, Buena Vista Pictures International, which were part of the Disney family umbrella. Yeah. You'll see them sometimes on films at the opening or closing credits. Right. And they also had, I think it was maybe Touchstone Pictures. Yeah, Touchstone. So Touchstone was also, I think
another distributor.
Yeah. For them.
Yeah, because it wasn't until many years later that they started releasing adult movies.
Yeah, and they finally got into that.
Suitable for adults.
Because they needed to diversify their entertainment revenue streams. Right. Sorry, I'm getting all financial and technical.
No, but it's true.
But yeah, they had to do that because in the early 90s and late 80s they were actually hemorrhaging money. Mm-hmm. So just before this film was being made, and this is when they were sort of coming out of that. Right.
Okay, so there were roughly 7 statues of Bette Midler for the scene in which she bursts in the sunlight towards the end of the movie.
Oh.
One of the statues, along with the famous spell book, are held in Planet Hollywood.
Oh, nice. Yeah. In LA? Is that somewhere, Planet Hollywood somewhere?
I think it is in LA.
Oh, nice. And they're the stone statues when she turns to stone? Oh, yeah. Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, how amazing would that be to have in your living room?
Yeah.
Just a statue of Bette Midler.
Going like that.
Oh, okay. So small puppets were designed to mimic the 3 witches flying in some scenes of the film.
Oh.
But for the most part, the flying scenes had shot the 3 witches in harnesses that were attached to wire for more of a realistic look.
Oh, okay.
And I think they did a really good job in that.
Yeah, definitely.
That was probably my favourite parts of the film.
When they're flying around?
When they were flying.
Yeah.
The scenes where they were flying and they had like these overextended, silk.
Oh, from their costumes and stuff. So it was really flowing in the wind.
Flowy.
In the wind, yeah. And I liked it how, what's the, not Sarah Jessica Parker, the other sister, she rides on a vacuum cleaner or something. Cleaner, yeah. That's quite funny. Yeah. I like that.
Okay, so that's everything in production side of things. Mm-hmm. Let's start now with the categories.
Okay.
So best or favourite scenes. So Matt, you want to go first?
Favourite scenes. Yeah. Okay. So I have a couple in mind. I love one of the opening scenes where the young boy
chases the witches into the forest.
So finds them, I guess, in the forest. Yeah. Finds the house, and we see the setting of the house because obviously I love production design and that sort of thing. So it looked very witchy. Obviously, that setting and stuff like that, and the witch runs in the door with the little girl. But I like the water wheel there is turning as well, and he goes up into the house, sneaks in and stuff. I love that whole sequence there. And then I guess the other scene for me is actually at the other end of the film, right at the end, when they blow up, the witches blow up. Yeah. Yeah, only because obviously I felt for the kids and I was like, okay, that's enough. Now they need to die. Sorry to sound harsh, but but yeah, and then sort of when that happened, it was like, okay, they're free now, so it's they're it's all good. So yeah, no, I liked.
Nice. So my favourite my favourite scenes in the movie were, I think, the flying sequences for me, where the witches were on the brooms.
Yes.
They just looked, not magical. What's another name for it? Mythical.
Yeah, mythical. Yes.
They just looked out of this world, and it was all to do with the costume as well and the capes. They just looked like so exotic.
And it didn't look. It was very good actually for the time, the special effects.
Yeah, absolutely.
It actually didn't look very fake too. It was like
They
it was
used
quite
very minimal CGI.
it was quite realistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they relied
was
heavily on doing their own stunts.
Mm.
And as I said earlier, Sarah Jessica Parker, Catherine Najimy, and Bette Midler were actually on harnesses.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And this is another fact that I forgot to mention as well, but Sarah Jessica Parker loved being in the harness so much that she would spend her free time up in the air in the harness, and
cool.
she used to put the newspaper under her, what's it called? The lacet? No.
The
Corset.
corset.
Yeah, so she used to put a newspaper under the corset,
Right.
and then she used to just hang there and read the newspaper while they were setting up and stuff like that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love that.
I mean, after hearing about Esther Elwell,
yeah.
it's no wonder.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that makes a bit more sense.
But yeah, so the very last scene in the film was probably my favourite, when the witches come back for revenge, and they go head to head in this epic showdown between the kids. That was my favourite scene. And also my favourite scene is also the very start of the movie, where it introduces you to the witches and what they looked like before they rejuvenated.
Oh yes, that's right. Old and wrinkly and
they're
stuff.
old and wrinkly, and they're more rancid,
Yes,
wicked than
yes,
ever.
yeah.
And then they
teeth missing and stuff like that.
Exactly. They sacrifice a little girl towards.
Oh yes, that's right.
And
taking her soul.
Yeah, and that brings the three back to youth. So yeah, that was a couple of my favourite scenes of the film.
Nice.
But yeah, so I've got a few categories here that I've left blank for us to fill in.
Yeah.
So recasting couch.
Recasting couch.
Recasting couch.
So we know Bette Midler would have had Rosie O'Donnell or Cloris Leachman. I wouldn't recast that. Bette Midler
for sure.
She owns that role now. It's iconic now. I don't know. The other two, without knowing too much about the other two, I mean, they were becoming quite famous in their own right, the other two actresses in it. Look, I say they got the casting pretty well for this, including the supporting cast as well. I mean, there's a lot of young actors in it, obviously. So, yeah. So no, I think it's good. I wouldn't recast.
Yeah. Okay, so moving right along, now we're going to discuss any nitpicks of the film that we like.
Maybe not on the film. Mine's just a personal thing that I have with Disney about being, overly sensitive with their family movies and stuff like that. I mean, I understand it's a kids' film, but you can take certain liberties in kids' films and not be ultra, polished and that sort of thing. That's the only thing. But it's not actually on the film. As I said, it's mainly on Disney from an I guess a identity point of view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I can't really fault it, to be honest. It's my favourite movie. Childhood movie.
Well, of course you have and movies that I grew up with. I have a very strong connection with. We all have strong connection with the films we grew up with.
No, great.
That makes sense.
Prequel, sequel, reboot, series, or is it untouchable?
Well, obviously they've done a sequel.
Yes.
And they're in development for a third film.
That's right.
So I'd say, they've already been doing sequels for this. And then in terms of any other, I wouldn't really do anything else with it, in my opinion. Like, that's just me.
Me personally, I would not reboot the original.
No, of course, yeah.
But yes, it is true. It has gone on to, as I said before, become a cult classic. It's very popular now compared to how popular it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
And it released a sequel called Hocus Pocus 2 that came out in September 30, I believe, in 2022, which was really successful. And allegedly there is another one in development at the moment, which will be Hocus Pocus 3. So
Nice.
it has gone on to be quite successful, continuing the franchise, which is great. I cannot wait, to see more.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of, doing a reboot or anything like that with not the original cast, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, they could potentially do a series on something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's good how it is now.
That's right,
Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so moving right along to the next category. So this one reads, what happened next week or month after?
So after this film, I don't know. What do you think happened?
Well, I think Max is no longer a virgin.
Really?
I reckon.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
He was trying to get with Alison the whole movie.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
So,
very, very subtly.
yeah.
Yes, he was. And yeah, maybe he was.
I bloody hope so. It's only been 30
Sorry.
years.
Got me totally off guard there, Jay, with this one. Yeah. Good on you, Max. Is it Max? Yeah, Max.
So now, closing thoughts for me. I just wanted to personally thank everyone involved in the making of this film and just know that you had a vital role in my childhood. So thanks.
Nice. For me, yeah, I mean, it's a Disney film. It's fun. It's got a lot of, it's a classic Disney sort of template of a film. It's got the kind of really upbeat orchestral music going for it, that adventure type music.
Yeah.
There's a bit of slapstick humor in it and that sort of thing. It's got a great cast.
Nice ensemble cast.
Nice and a good ensemble cast. And yeah, it's very light. Obviously, watching, very lighthearted. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun ride of a film for sure.
One that you definitely won't regret.
No, and I guess who won the movie? Do you think for this?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to insult anyone that worked on the film because I just think it's perfect as it is. But if I had to choose, Bette Midler.
Bette Midler.
Bette Midler.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean?
I think it's Bette Midler too.
Yeah.
She's just all over this film,
She's
everywhere.
amazing.
Even when she's not in a scene, she looms large over the film.
Yeah.
I got a thought actually on another, just because of the look of the film.
Yeah.
Actually, from a design point of view, I don't know why I just came up with this, but considering it was made in it was released in '93, so it was made in probably '92 or something. What's the most 1993 thing about this movie or in this movie? Like when watching it, do you think? Like, just it could be from a visual point of view. It can be.
Does it have to be specifically 1993?
Because that's when it was mainly set, right?
Yeah.
In modern day, like in the time it was set around then. Yeah, or what's the most, that or the most not cliche thing about the film.
Yeah.
But for me, why I said this was, when they're in class in high school, in a lot of these films, and they're in high school in this scene in here, and they're in class, and the bell goes, and they all race out of the classroom, and they all race out of the school to their bikes and to the waiting cars. That's a sort of a trope sort of scene in through the 90s in film and that. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so early 1990s. Like the bell rings, or someone says something to the girl in class and the bell rings and they all flood out of the school onto their bikes and stuff like that. They do that in countless films.
The fashion used in the film too, amongst the teenagers and stuff, were really 90s and retro. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure somewhere in the film, Max gets rolled for his shoes.
That's the Nike, are they Nike cross trainers or something?
Yeah, something like that. But they're so 90s. So that
very, very 90s.
So there's a lot of little golden nuggets and stuff in the film that relate to the specific time. Yeah. When the movie was released.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, me too. It keeps it more enriched and alive. Yeah. For the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess and today, I guess it holds up today, even though, as I said, it was set
I think so.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain nostalgia, and you kind of ignore, you know, some of the fashion and culture styles from that era back in the early 90s. But I still think it does hold up because it is a fantasy film, after all.
Well, I think the reason why it holds up so well even today is because it's one of the most streamed, well, in today's terms, streamed movies to watch during Halloween.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually...
So it rates really high on Disney's
massively,
list.
Hugely.
Oh, wow.
It's on a platform called Freeform, and I'm pretty sure these guys have been going for years, but they play Hocus Pocus throughout the month of October.
Oh, right.
And as I was saying before, that's what's helped this film
get a bigger following.
Developed a following
since its release.
A wider audience. And literally brought the film back from the dead.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So another little fun fact for you.
And the fact that they're making they've made one film and they're making an additional film. So people go back and watch the original as well.
So not disclosing too much about... Without disclosing too much about Hocus Pocus 2, it follows these two witches that are harassed by the witches again. These two girls bring back the witches from the grave again because one of them lights the black flame candle.
Again. Yeah.
And the witches then go after them, as they do. But the girls... And you kind of get hints throughout the movie, but the girls that are fighting against the witches are actually witches themselves.
Witches against witches.
Good against bad. So I think Disney is trying to open up a new can of worms for the younger generation.
A new franchise, probably.
Right.
Or to continue. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. That's a cool idea.
Okay, thanks for listening, guys. I've had an absolute blast. It's been very fun. Matt, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jay. It's been great. It's our first Disney film.
It's our first Disney film.
One of many, I'm sure, over the course of this pod. I can't do it. I have the Disney tune. It sounds like E.T. or something.
Shit.
I know. Anyway. We're getting. Are we trying to do the Disney music?
I think so.
Yeah. I sorry, guys. I really apologize.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Oh, nice. Good work, Jay. Jay's great with voices. So next week.
Yes. What are we doing next week, Matt?
Next week we're going to be a bit more serious now.
Ooh.
Yes, because this is the Zodiac speaking. We're doing David Fincher's epic crime feature film based on the notorious serial killer who was never caught, the Zodiac, who haunted the San Francisco Bay Area and surrounding areas in the late 1960s, 70s, and into the 1980s. So it's a film obviously based on true events and true victims that happened, and chronicles a number of people, including one guy who was pretty much they thought was likely to be the Zodiac killer. So great film. It's right in David Fincher's pocket, one of my favorite directors, master of suspense and thrillers. Yes, love him. So guys, it'll be a really great one next week. But yeah, thanks, Jay. It's been great. No, and thanks so much for everyone for listening. And yes. And
thanks to our listeners.
Yes, and happy Halloween. I mean, yes.
Happy Halloween.
I mean, for those of you watching, as you can see, we have an amazing
decorated the set.
Halloween set here tonight.
I borrowed Matt's cauldron.
Excuse me. Are you calling me a witch?
I'm calling you a bitch.
Oh, wow. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time. Bye.